A new putty for smoothing 3D prints. Better than Bondo? Today we're gonna apply it, brush it, spray it, and put it to the test. It's in today's video, it's coming up next.
You've been struck by a smooth criminal.
All right, what's up guys? We are gonna be testing out a new glazing putty I found. It is made by Upol, which makes one of the best body fillers that you can get. I have very high hopes and high expectations for this. As we all know, I am a huge fan of the acetone and Bondo. Well, that was really close. But this stuff here, I am hoping not only is it better, but I can do it in the same method. For a candidate, we're gonna be using my Kang helmet because I've gotten so much done on that. Definitely gonna be done by February 17th. Because Upol is actually available in the UK, which is huge because with my plastic metal method, with the glazing putty method, products just aren't available in the UK. I love the support that I get from you guys, and I hate myself that I show you these methods and you can't get these products. I'm going to test this in the 3 different application methods, and it fares to the Bondo glazing putty. And let the testing begin. Let's go. I am gonna sand a small section just to prep it, applying this Upol fantastic glazing putty. So this says it is exactly, I just dropped it.
What?
It is exactly the way Bondo glazing putty works, where it does not need a hardener. Upol does make other putties, so to speak, that needs a hardener, but that's not what we want. Once that hardener gets in and mixes with this resin, it catalyzes, and once it fully hardens, there's no turning back. The beauty of using things like putties, plastic metal, something like acetone or a paint thinner, you can remix it back in and reactivate it. You can't do that with anything with a hardener. That's why I like using the acetone. It's chemically etching it, so it's really bonding with the surface. So we're gonna see if this stuff works all the same. First thing I'm gonna do, sand this top part here, some 220, just so we can prep it for applying the putty. All right, so that's good enough. Do not flame me for not wearing a mask. I wanna be able to talk. Some acetone in here, and it's got a sealed top, just like all the putties do, because again, O2 is a catalyst. Once that oxygen gets in there, it starts the curing process. Keeping it in a cool place, it will slow down molecular response that's going on. And I can tell you this smells a lot stronger than the Bondo putty. Probably gonna be a better product. First, I'm going to apply it by hand. Now on the bottle, it says it takes about 15 minutes. I'm not really using a ton here. Just do this side. Definitely is a thicker product than the glazing putty. Like, it's already getting tacky right now. It's already starting to harden now. Like when I pull it here with my finger, it's starting to clump. Yeah, like it's already hard on my finger. Dry to the touch. So this stuff cures pretty quick. One thing I'm finding early on, you have a limited time to apply this, so I wouldn't do big areas. We very well may be able to spray this. Something with a bigger nozzle. I don't know if an airbrush is gonna be, it's gonna work on this. Stuff is, it seems like it's a little bit thick. And I'm gonna put some in kind of consistency we get here. The consistency is almost like plastic metal, which is very enticing. And I haven't even touched on that. 7-ounce bottle is only $10. That's huge because like glazing putty, I think is at like $7 or $8 a bottle for 4.5 ounces. $6, $7 for this, $10 for this. It's almost twice the size. Keep mixing this up and see what we come up with. We just start painting this on the model and see how it looks. So far early on, very similar to Bondo glazing putty. Biggest thing is this, like it's drying so quick, substantially quicker than the Bondo putty. The way this applies and dries so quick, brushing might be the way to go. I'm gonna apply this to areas I didn't even sand and see how well it fills in. That's always big too, you know, a lot of people, they sand and they sand and they sand your model to a certain degree. But I always see people taking, you know, power sanders and these heavy grits, and they just round the model off and it loses definition. The beauty of this is you can do a light coat or two and it's still keeping, you know, the majority of the definition in there. And whatever you need to keep those certain curves, anybody can grab a power sander and go to town on a helmet and get most of the lines knocked out. But when you can keep the aesthetic properties intact, that's really way more impressive. Go through and do a good section of this top helmet, some areas where I have not even sanded at all. And we're gonna come back and hit this with some 220 and see exactly how well this stuff fills. So I just got done applying it and it's almost ready to sand. The acetone reactivating and evaporating a little bit faster than the Bondo, which is really interesting. What it's leaving behind here is a really thick, but not too thick, coating on here that's really gonna fill in the lines. Now this is where I applied it by hand. Very similar to plastic metal. It may feel better, I'm not sure. But I really like the application. It's just crazy how thin it is, but how thick it applies on the helmet. It's very nice, and it dries just as quick as the plastic metal and the glazing putty. Helmet sit for about 2 minutes and see how well this Upol glazing putty actually fills. We'll sand it down, check out the results. Whenever you're doing putties, you don't want to go down to like 180, 160, definitely not 80, because you're just going to gouge the heck out of the putty or just completely strip it off. I usually like to start with something around 220 or 320. Definitely once it's dried like this, you're okay with a dust mask, but you do not want to be breathing this stuff in. This stuff here, you can see that it's kind of starting to grab. This is not quite ready, but just based on how well this is sanding down and filling in, a step up from the Bondo glazing putty as far as filling method. Problem that I've had in the past with the Bondo glazing putty is apply it with a brush or maybe spray it with an hvlp. It shrinks and then you see some of those PLA lines come back. Does need to be sanded a little bit more diligently. That once you get this sanded down and hit with filler primer, all your PLA lines are gonna be gone. Test this, see how well it sprays. Try it with my hvlp. I don't think this will be something that you can use in the airbrush. People ask me with the plastic metal airbrush, and there's just no way. This has very similar consistency to the plastic metal. What I'm gonna do is get some things cleaned up, test this in the hvlp gun. It's a new day. If you hear some crazy Caribbean music in the background, Kona Ice, this like snow cone place, is driving around my neighborhood right now.
Slap at the bass, mama.
I almost forgot about a event that my kids had for school, so I just didn't have time to get everything set up. So I went ahead and just applied it, show you, I guess, the self-filling abilities of this filler acetone mix. The other day when I started sanding this, I had said how it was just very clumpy and it definitely needed longer than 15 to 20 minutes to dry. I read a lot of things specifically on O'Reilly's website, and a lot of people complain that when you just applied it non-diluted, it takes a really, really long time to dry. So I wanted to give it more time. So it set well more than a day. The acetone, there was no issues. It was almost ready to sand instantaneously. So now, of course, a quick look at how the rest of the helmet looks with just applying it with the acetone dilution. It looks great, but getting back to that straight application of this Upol putty, it's funny. Upol makes a great product. This product straight applied, I don't recommend it. Very gummy. It sands very difficult. It just gums up the sandpaper. I can see why it got a bunch of negative reviews on O'Reilly's website. So I don't recommend it. What I do recommend, though, is diluting it down with acetone. Brushing it on, using that brush method is going to give you the best process possible. But moving on now, of course, I am changing course here. I'm going to do this Moon Knight mask. I had this piece laying around here. I had a little bit of a clog. I figured this would be a good test piece. I'm not going to do any sanding on this. See how well it smooths it out, spraying it with the hvlp. I'm going to have to use some filler or do some more PLA welding to fix this top piece. I figure if I can spray this product on or paint it on, whatever I need to do, and it can smooth this out, this is going to be a pretty awesome product. So I've got my putty right here. I've got the acetone. Gonna get some stuff mixed up. I'm using my mini hvlp gun right here. So I'm gonna start getting everything mixed up, get everything set up in the spray tent. Let's get things going. So I'm very happy to report that the dilution mix of acetone and the Upol putty sprayed perfectly fine. I had no issues, no clogs, no problems whatsoever. I really don't believe you will be able to spray it out of an airbrush. I guess I could try. I'm just fearful that it's going to clog it up to the point that I'm not going to be able to fix it. I do recommend doing multiple coats. Here you can see that I really just did one medium coat. It really needs a lot more, very similar to the Bondo glazing putty. Building those coats up is when it really starts to fill in. down. But that was okay because I actually took this, I went through and started sanding it down with some 220, and then I actually put it back in the spray tent and did 2 more coats, and it actually came out really great. Sanding it is very easy. All I needed was 220. I had to do a majority of it by hand. Once I actually got that back in the booth and put 2 more coats on, sanded it, put some Bondo filler primer on. This is just a quick glimpse of what it looks like. I'll have final shots at the end of the video of the full hood and mask. But here, I am prepping Darkwing Z's helmet that he did for Pensacon. This is 2 coats of the brush method. So let me talk a little bit more about this and give you a little bit more examples and visuals on how great this product works. I personally am more prone to doing this than using the Bondo glazing putty. The Bondo glazing putty, the main filling agent and additive in there is talcum. It is a great product. However, it does shrink a little bit more when introduced to a heavier solvent like acetone. So I often find myself having to just go over the same spot more. This product here by Upol, it actually is polyester based. It's basically a polyester resin. Truth be told, this stuff is actually more like a lightweight filler than a glazing putty. Really don't like applying this stuff as a whole. It kind of takes forever to dry, and it's a little bit of a pain in the butt to sand down. It clumps up. However, when you dilute this down with acetone, is just absolutely amazing. If you like doing the SLA resin brushing, you will probably love this. I personally don't like using SLA resin to smooth, and here's why. You have a print maybe similar to this that has some imperfection and impurities. More resin you add, obviously it gets heavier and it starts to run and drip as you lose definition, because that resin will say build up in here, or you'll get runs. You can't really control that. It has retained a majority of the definition. There's no run marks. It's completely dry in minutes. The first coat that you kind of put on, it almost seems watery. But then as it starts to dry, you just continue brushing it and you start to blend it in. If you do put it on too heavy, have a separate dish of acetone, you can reactivate that putty, or filler is really what it is, and you can blend that out. You could probably just add filler primer and then paint this, and this mask would still look awesome. This is supposed to look kind of like fabric, and I feel like this putty here has actually, it's given a texture to it, which is really cool. So obviously that's not gonna apply for all masks. It's very unique because you are actually dealing with a polyester resin, which is a lot different than what we're used to in Bondo glazing putty. It adds more durability than Bondo. So I know a lot of people sit there and say, oh, if you're brushing this on, is it gonna add durability? You know, in all reality, like Bondo glazing putty, it really isn't going to, because it's so thin. But with this, it's very unique. Affordability, efficiency, you really can't beat it. You can, of course, spray it. I got pretty good results with it. I've just noticed, me personally, when I do this method, I'm definitely going to be using this as a brush. I just think it works a lot better. Some different dilution to see how well this can actually work when being sprayed. If you're a fan of the brush, you will want to be a fan of this product. Absolutely awesome. And here, just recapping Darkwing Z's Moon Knight helmet that he did for Pensacon. Of course, we sanded it with 220, hit it with a couple coats of Bondo filler primer, then he sanded it with 400, 600. Then we put our final coat of primer, got right into painting and weathering. If you didn't see that video, go check it out. I have a quick glimpse here at the end of this video of his final Moon Knight helmet and the other Moon Knight helmet. If an 8-year-old can get a helmet to look this good with minimal experience, anybody can capitalize on using this Upol putty. It really didn't work that great applying it right from the bottle, but when you dilute it down, brush it on, 2 to 3 coats, I mean, look how good this helmet looks. This is an 8-year-old. This is his first helmet he ever did. It just looked great. This is the other Moon Knight helmet that we did. This is with the spray technique. So of course, you can save yourself time by just doing more coats in the beginning, but the same process. I did 220, 400, 600. So you can see the full mask, the full helmet, the hood, everything looking nice and smooth. So now that you've seen the product, you've seen the process, you've seen the results, and you've seen the comparison, let me give you my final thoughts and final opinions on Upol Fantastic Putty. All right, guys, well, there you have it. That is my finding of the Upol Fantastic glazing putty. As new as this fresh dew that I'm rocking, this stuff turned out to be pretty awesome. Of course, we found that using it straight is terrible. To be able to spray this, to be able to brush this, it really is something that's just gonna add versatility. The filling abilities, how quick it cures, it's just gonna save you so much time. There are still going to be certain instances that I use the Bondo glazing putty and the plastic metal. Both of those I can use straight. This I cannot. Need something lighter like a glazing putty. You may need something heavier that's more resin based like this. Whatever you're using it on, you're gonna have awesome luck. I'm continuing to work on it on my Kang helmet. Of course, it's still not done and we're now in March. That's just the life of Darkwing Dad. That's okay, because with products like this, if you don't have as busy of a life as me, be able to get your projects knocked out even quicker, better quality, not sanding and rounding off the model. Wasted time, wasted effort. This is not only gonna help you keep the definition of the model, cut down on sanding, give you absolutely awesome results time and time again. I hope you guys liked the video, and of course, if you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Of course, if you have any questions in regards to the putty or any of my processes, go ahead and drop me a comment. I'll hit you back. This is definitely going to be a staple now in moving forward with my post-processing with 3D prints. Basically just using this and Bondo filler primer on a majority of my prints. I have left the link in the description. But right now, it is not available on Amazon. A lot of these processes that I come up with these videos, I get flamed by some other people in the community, and I'm kind of just biting my tongue on this one. This isn't a get rich quick scheme. Okay. This isn't even available on Amazon. I'm not getting Amazon commission or anything off this. This is just something that works. The whole reason for this channel is to share my knowledge, with you guys. Don't try to do hype videos. I'm not trying to do this for clicks. Obviously, I want the channel to grow. I would love to be a full-time content creator. I'm not there yet. Will I ever get there? I don't know, but I like making this stuff. I like sharing my findings with you, and that's the only reason for the channel. Haters gonna hate. I appreciate all the nice comments from you guys. You guys say, hey, that looks awesome. That's amazing. How did you do that? Stuff like this is how I do it. You use this, you are not gonna be disappointed. Make sure you go pick this stuff up, get to that next level. Hopefully this video does. Of course, if it does, drop me a comment. Let me know. Come back and see me again. And if you did want to come back and see me again, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Obviously, I have a lot of projects. I'm slowly chipping away at my to-do list, so I got a lot more cool videos on the horizon. That's it for now, guys. I'm going to go ahead and maybe get that Kang helmet fixed. Maybe finish this Punisher War Machine suit that I've had laying around. Now that I got this awesome product, maybe I can finally get it done. Give me a thumbs up, drop me a comment, click that sub button. Until next time, DW out. Later.